Good afternoon and welcome back to the iCare Group Australia Ipswich Jets after the 80. We are in the No Frills studio today. I know we've produced some extraordinary content and some extraordinary studios, but this one tops the list for me. And we're with the greatest S&C trainer in Host Plus Cup history. Is that a big introduction? Graham Russo.
Big shoes to fill, mate. Big shoes to fill.
Hey Graham, welcome mate. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're in your first year at the Jets. How are you finding it?
It's great, mate. Unreal community down here. Group of people that really bought in to doing well for the community, doing well for the club, and kind of pushing towards our ultimate goal, not only in our program in Cup, but the community as well, getting young people into the door, getting people into playing footy and developing through the systems on the greener pastures, which is unreal.
And you've come from the Australian Royal Air Force, I believe. Is that your background?
Yeah, so currently full-time strength and conditioning out of the Royal Australian Air Force with their fighter pilots, and then before that, a bit of a mixed background, mostly swimming, basketball, and a little bit of parasport.
So obviously well equipped in the sporting arena, and I'm going to assume this is the first time in the rugby league arena. What is the biggest difference you've found between, let's be honest, jet fighter pilots are a bit different to rugby league players. What's the biggest difference or challenges you've seen or come across in this short period of time?
Yeah, personality is definitely a lot louder than what I'm used to in an Air Force setting. But I mean, the most blatant difference is that we work in a collision sport, right? A lot of our job is making sure that people are fit and healthy, but there's a whole other dimension to getting people ready to play when you're hurling yourselves at each other and using yourselves as a projectile.
Can you give us a bit of a rundown, a bit of a background? I mean, you're probably not allowed to say too much. It is the Royal Air Force, but can you give us a bit of a background of what's a day look like when you're training people who are getting ready to potentially go to war?
Yeah, it's in a way different, but not too different to sport. So the main difference is in sport, we have a date where we play, we have to be ready, we know where finals comes. In a more tactical, occupational setting like Air Force or working with operators and pilots, there's no game day. So there's this feeling or approach of perpetual readiness and always kind of being ready to perform at your best. So it definitely changes how you plan and how you go about training. We don't necessarily get to peak at a certain time like we would how we do here.
And a big part of your role is obviously getting people prepared to play and get them in their best shape possible, as strong, as fit, as fast as they can, so they can perform at their best. But another leg of your job is injury prevention.
Absolutely.
We're at that period now when we've just hit the halfway point of the season. How do you feel things are shaping, or how do you feel things have shaped to keep us healthy and in the position we are in at the moment?
I think we're in really good nick for where we are in the season, and definitely an interesting period for us with a lot of bye weeks in a pretty congested area where we've not been able to have maybe the consistency we'd like in the footy that we play. But I mean, a great coaching staff here that really buy in to the sports science side of things and how we manage our players and manage our loads, and making sure we're finding opportunities to top up and, identifying gaps and risks with all of our players so we can make sure that people are getting the right stimulus at the right time. So when we get through this period where we're not playing much footy, we're as topped up as we can be. And obviously there's only so much you can simulate game-based fitness and footy fitness, but doing everything we can to make sure the wheels are on when it's time to go.
And I mean, it's your first year at the club. Is there any particular highlights or is there anything that stands out to you that separates the Jets from other industries or other workplaces you've worked at before?
I think the work we do in our pathways and the effort we put in our pathways is something that I've really liked to be a part of, and it's probably the part of strength and conditioning, athlete development that I look back on and I have really fond memories of, is watching young people come through the door and be coachable and be adaptable and do the work and then get the reward at the end. Watching guys come through our Melbourne Inga system and apply themselves and train and kind of do what they're told and do what they're supposed to do and look after themselves, and have them be able to kind of hang around and join into our Cup team and train with Cup and have them go to the next opportunity is a really rewarding part of the job to watch and be a part of.
All right, and just so our listeners can get to know you a little bit more personally, we'll go through a little series of rapid fire questions, just random questions which you have to answer honestly, because it's about our fans and our listeners get to know you. So, do you have any? I know you're not a player on the field, but do you have any game day superstitions or around preparing the players to play?
Yeah, I'm real big on not changing things and being really a creature of habit. And players probably get sick of the monotony sometimes, but I buy into, if you find what works and you find a routine that works, you stick to it until it doesn't. And you don't want too many moving parts on game day. Like a lot of people are creatures of habit and they like to know everything in a known quantity. And I try and do everything that I can to the, what people are eating, what time we get to places, how we warm up, who's warming up, keeping those things really routine and minimizing moving parts.
What does life look like for Graham Russo 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I mean, hopefully still in sport, still coaching. I mean, the goal is to move more towards high performance management and into a more kind of senior coaching role. But I mean, I'm one of the few lucky people that get to be in sport and call it a career and earn a full-time income, and honestly hold on to that as long as I can and keep finding programs where I can add value and earn across.
All right, something we'd like to finish on and ask our guests for after the 80. What's one thing that you would do differently if you had the chance?
Can I say not become a strength and conditioning coach?
You can say whatever you want.
I don't know. Something I'd do differently. I mean, I'd probably bounced around a few different jobs and did a few different things as a young guy before I figured out what I wanted to do. I was probably working in sport and being around strength and conditioning is probably something I knew that I wanted to do early on, but I didn't think it was doable. And I probably spent a bit of time not doing that because I thought I couldn't. So I guess looking back, if I do it differently, I'd jump into what I'm doing now a lot earlier and kind of take some more opportunities.
What's one piece of advice that someone's passed on to you that you've never forgotten?
I think the biggest one for me is like stuff that was passed on to me by mentors, more senior coaches and stuff that I figured out along the way is that being your authentic self and showing up as you are is usually the most likable form of person you are. Especially as a coach, sometimes you want to present as a certain way or have people like you a certain way, and I guess a lot of the time that can be seen through quite often. And I think the most important thing for people who want to be able to fit in systems is not trying to fit in a system, but be your unique self and show up to that system as you are. And what you bring to the table is what you bring to the table, and I think people will respect you more for being yourself than trying to cater to the system or the environment you're in.
That's some great advice. Graham, mate, one of the all-time guests on the After the 80 so far. We're going to catch up with Head Coach Tye off the back of this little segment, and we'll talk all things rugby league as well as a bit of a review on our performance up in Townsville v the Blackhawks. Welcome back to the iCare Group Australia Ipswich Jets After the 80. We've got one of the biggest guests in the club today. We're going to talk all things rugby league. Head Coach Tye. Mate, thanks for coming on.
What's going on?
It's always a tough ask, asking the head coach to come on and review a tough game after a tough loss, and so I've got to put my hands together for you, mate. You've put your hand up. It's more important. He said, you know what he said to me, quote unquote, he said, it's more important our fans get the insight of what we're doing here, sometimes more than the result, which I rate that highly. But mate, on that, tough trip. We obviously went road trip up to Townsville to take on the Blackhawks, a very strong Blackhawks team, and got sent home with our tail between our legs, unfortunately. Do you want to give us a little bit of a review on what you got to see come out of that game?
Yeah, like you said, Mbye, they were a really good side, Townsville. They come into the blocks nice and hard. I thought the first 40 minutes going in at 10-0 down. I thought we were well and truly in that. I thought it was a really good arm wrestle from both sides in that opening 40. And then just after half-time, we lost, obviously, Kobe Tararo to the sin bin and had to play the next 10 minutes with 12 players. And, we just were chasing our tails after that. And like you said, they were great throughout the day, and their halves were outstanding. Campanolo and Bailey Bondioto, and then their outside backs, Creedence Toyer and Lennox Tobo, were just rapid through the middle of us, and we just couldn't contain them.
As you mentioned, we went in at half time, was 10-0. I mean, given the last try was in the 39th and a half minute from memory. I mean, I thought we did extremely well to hang on to 4-0. The first half was like NRL intensity. Like it was back and forth. It was grindy. It was big long cycles. Is there some positives out of that you got? Like, do you watch that go and I'm actually happy we stood some of that, or are you disappointed coming in at that scoreline?
Yeah, I think so. I think at half time, like you're in the sheds, I think we were pretty confident as a staff of where we were at, and like you said, that knock-off with about 30 seconds to go really hurt us. We got to do better on those little lapses. Those little moments can be crucial, and going in at 4-0 is obviously a bit better than 10-0, but I was really confident at half time just because we were in such a really vicious cycle there, back and forth. The ball in play periods there would have been quite long and significant, and I thought we handled our own pretty well. We held our gloves up in Townsville, which is a very hostile crowd, and I thought they threw so much at us, and they're such a well improved side from round one. They're going to be there in the back end of the year.
And I mean, park that game now. That game's done. We move on to next week. We've got Redcliffe coming up at Redcliffe on Sunday, who are high flying on the ladder. Just as a bit of a look back on our season so far, we've just hit the halfway mark. I mean, you as a coach, you must be pretty pleased to see the club doing so well, something that's been quite foreign to the Jets in recent years. Like, do you sort of sit back and go, what we're doing, we're on the right track? I think there's some fruits to show for that.
Yeah, I think so, mate. I think we're sitting in a really good position at the moment, even though the last couple of weeks the results haven't gone the way we wanted them to. Midway through the season, if you asked us if we were sitting fifth on the ladder, if we'd be happy, we would have took that for the start of the year. And now it's about making sure that we finish strong. But as a club, mate, we're striving, and we want to be the best version we can be. And I see improvements every week when I come into the organisation, and that's up from the top too. John and Richard are doing a tremendous job, giving us the resources to make sure that we can be successful, and the players are working extremely hard.
And I know it's very difficult to pinpoint one player or two players in a team sport, but is there any surprise packages? Is there a certain player who's just jumped out of the ground and really surprised you with how far he's come along this season with his development and his game?
I think Ioane Sueli's been great for us. I think we've really missed him over these last couple of weeks through suspension, and probably his leadership. When I first brought Ioane to the club, obviously knew Ioane was a talented rugby league player, but probably didn't understand the influence he has off the field as well through that leadership. So he's been a bit of a surprise to me, what we get both sides of the ball with Ioane. So he's a pleasure to coach. And
you've been riding the coaching roller coaster for some time now. It's not new to you. You're up, you're down, you're in, you're out. I mean, looking ahead, what excites you most about the rest of 2026?
Yeah, I think, like we said before, we're in a position here that if we finish the year nice and strong, we can give ourselves every chance to be playing semi-final footy. And we did it last year too, the first time since 2018, and be good to replicate that. And then obviously once you're there and see where you end up. But I think most importantly, we just got to look at the next couple of weeks and what that looks like for us as a team, and continue to get better as a group.
And we travel up to Redcliffe on Sunday, take on the Dolphins at home, as mentioned. Where do we beat the Dolphins? Well, do you getting prepared for this game? Do you focus more on what we need to get right, or do you focus more on if they have some sort of weaknesses that we can expose?
Yeah, I think I just actually had this conversation before. I think this week's about us. I think we've been off the mark a little bit these last couple of games, and we need to get back on the horse and understand our systems and make sure that we're doing our jobs correctly, and the result will take care of itself. We're going to Redcliffe as the underdogs there. They're playing extremely good footy at the moment, so it's a bit of a free swing mentality for us this weekend. But yeah, I think we just got to worry about ourselves and do the little things that we were doing at the start of the year right, and getting back on track.
Well, looking forward to sharing this journey with you, Tybo. Obviously, still playing and working alongside you, so I'm really looking forward to sharing the rest of this season with you. And mate, just appreciate you coming on. I know it's a tough ask always after a loss like that, and hopefully next Monday we're reviewing a different sort of performance. So thanks for tuning in, guys. The iCare Group Australia Ipswich Jets after the 80, proudly brought to you by the Jets Leagues Club, the #1 supporter of rugby league in your community.